Welcome to the Designated Drinkers Podcast. Sit back and enjoy the ride.
As long as you have a beer in your hand, we're alive. Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. My name is Carlo. It's Joe.
Tom, I have food in my mouth.
And we have our special guest today.
Steve.
Hey Steve, thank you for joining us. We met Steve at Nick's surprise party. So we had a lot of fun talking to him. And we actually have our three topics like usual. Hopefully like usual. I'm hoping that we do things regularly now. But anyways, the three topics for today, I have to pull them up.
Well, one's obviously our bullshit, as usual.
Okay, I think I deleted the topics that I had.
Well, okay. Well,
You're on top of shit today.
Tell me about it. Jesus, what's wrong with my phone?
It's from that magnet, bro.
I wouldn't be
Oh
surprised.
gosh, what the heck is going on?
So
we can talk about that for bullshit.
yeah, okay. So usually we have a moment for bullshit. The moment for bullshit today starts right now. So, Steve, tell us a little bit of. Oh, actually, yeah. Here I have the topics now. First one, the rise of podcasts, D&D, because Steve and actually everybody on this table now plays Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Isn't that right, Tom?
I never saw myself doing that, but it's actually, they wanted me to try it out before we had Steve on because he plays it pretty regularly, if I understand correctly. So I figured, what the fuck, I'll do it for the podcast, give it a shot, and it's actually quite enjoyable.
He loved it.
I wouldn't say
He
loved
loved it. You know how I know he loved it? He went shake and bake. And when a man goes shake and bake, you can't lie with those emotions.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't lie. Can't lie. We went through too much today.
Joe, can we just talk about the fact that you just sounded like a football announcer?
Yeah, well. Don't tell people my plans. I'm trying to.
So, the rise of podcasts, D&D, and nostalgia, which we always try to get into, but we never really dive.
Well, this time we
into it.
are.
I guess, hopefully. Tom's drinking crack and rum, so we'll see how
Again.
we get.
Yeah, because the last time, I don't know if any of you guys remember, but I fell on the floor, and
Did you
that was a bad podcast.
see the picture that Angelo sent you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just didn't acknowledge it.
That's a great picture. That's a great picture. Darren came out, opened that fridge. He's like, "Oh, hey, Tom loves some of his Kraken." And then Angelo immediately was like, "Oh, we're gonna drink it."
I mean,
real good.
it is what it is, I'm not going to be mad about it, but the reason why I like it is it's smooth. It's really smooth. Like, right now, I can't even taste it, and I probably filled this thing almost halfway.
Right.
So,
Okay.
It's I don't know.
it's a heavy hitter. It's
I
a heavy
don't
hitter.
like rum. I like Peruvian things.
Of course you do.
Hey, you're Hispanic. You don't like rum?
I'm not into rum.
That's a Hispanic thing.
Don't you have a pirate heritage?
Yeah, apparently, I guess.
You're not a Caribbean night? Come on.
I actually don't drink any liquor anymore.
Really?
Yeah, it's probably been, oh Lord, I've had a little bit here and there, just when my wife makes me or something. But for the most part, I just drink this Paulaner Hefeweizen and
Dude,
wine.
that stuff is so good.
Yeah.
I love it.
He brought us some of it, and we're like, "Where'd you buy this?" Giant Eagle. We drove to Giant Eagle. Doesn't have it.
No dice. No dice.
I'll find it. I'm gonna find it.
I drove a half hour once a week to go pick this stuff up. My sister actually brought it back from Germany for me. She went on vacation with her boyfriend and his family, and then they broke up. And I actually hang out with him and his family more than I do her. But that's his parents are real into this stuff. His mother is from Germany. She actually moved here when she was I forget how old she was. But they're really cool people. But I drink this stuff all the time now. I was driving a half hour to pick it up, and now they actually started carrying it at the Giant Eagle by my house. So that's pretty Nice.
I find it funny that like you don't really drink liquor anymore, and I kind of like reversed. So I used to drink beer all the time. Like I used to be able to drink a shit ton of beer, and now it's like I kind of reverted to going to liquor just because of like going to the gym and stuff. And there's I mean, obviously I'm drinking it with Coke right now, so that doesn't really help me out. But you know, I mean, I drink gin a lot. Which, even though it's a clear liquor, and clear liquor is for white women on diets, but
And white men on diets. And Latino men on diets.
But I drink that and wine. I buy like I go like through cycles where for a while I was drinking like a Pinot Grigio, and that was all I would drink for.
wine's good,
That
man.
was a long time.
That's
and
fancy.
now I'm on like Cabernet or something now. But I've transitioned to reds. Pretty much completely.
You know what I could see him doing? I could see him like getting a Hugh Hefner robe, sitting in his living room with a pipe,
halfway there,
drinking a glass of red wine, just sitting there like with the slippers on, and he's like, "Honey, can you get me my newspaper?"
Well, in my opinion, print media is dying, and hopefully will be gone soon. But yeah, that's not far off. I'd freaking love that. If I could smoke inside, that would be ideal.
Print media is gone with the death of Hugh Hefner.
I hear that they're still keeping that magazine up though.
Yeah, you know what they
Probably.
tried to
I
do
don't
first?
order it, but
They gotta make that money, man.
I mean, I got Pornhub. Why would I need to order it?
Did you know what they try to do? They first try to take all the nakedness out of it.
They did that for a little while.
Yeah,
what
they
was
did.
that? A year or two ago?
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I saw an article
Yeah,
about it.
all I
somewhere.
know is they took it out, and then they were like, okay, we're not selling any more than we were before.
We're selling less because we realize that nobody actually reads these articles.
Right.
Oh, hey, look, an article about how to make a pizza.
You still, even if you're the kind of person that's like, hey, they took out all the nakedness out, you cannot bring a Playboy into a store and start reading it and go.
You still look like a creep.
Yeah,
like,
you still look like a creep.
Dude,
No. They got rid of all the
The nudity.
Yeah, no, man.
just good
No,
old-fashioned
you're freaking
reading.
creepy. You're
no,
creepy.
okay, I actually have a story about that. I had, at one of my jobs, we used to have this really creepy old guy, and every day on his lunch break, he'd have his tool bucket, and he'd go sit down on the tool bucket, eat a sandwich, smoke a cigarette, and as he was smoking a cigarette, now this was before they took the nudity out, as he's smoking a cigarette, he's just sitting there reading a Playboy. And we're like, wait a second, bro. Like, what are you doing over there? Like, are you, I understand that you have a half-hour lunch, but that's, I'm not even joking, dude.
Can you do that on
Every
your
day.
own time?
15 minutes to read, and then 15 minutes in the bathroom. I get it.
Dude, literally every single day. And he would just sit there and read it. And I'm like,
That's weird.
what are you doing? He's like, oh, they have this article on, like, pipes or whatever. I'm like, you're like the only motherfucker I've ever met that is actually looking at Playboy for the articles.
Like, you can get, like, cigar aficionado, dude. Like, you don't have to
Like,
read.
what the fuck?
You don't have to, like, pretend or anything.
Hey, Steve, for our listeners, because we just introduced you as the guy we met at Nick's party, which is great.
The baby barbecue.
Yeah.
We might want to rephrase that a little bit. We didn't barbecue any babies.
Babies. Baby barbecue.
I think that was legitimately how it was sold to me. It was, we're having I don't know, it was something like that, baby barbecue. I don't know.
It was-
my buddy was like, "Who's providing the babies?"
It was a diaper party for Nick since he's having the kid. Everybody got together and we got him some diapers and whatnot. But I mean, if I would have showed up and there would have been like a couple babies in the back by that fire, I would have been like, I think I'm gonna leave.
I don't know what he's getting
We're
into.
cooking up some right now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Nice and tender.
I know that this is a dry party,
Yeah.
but I prefer to have regular food.
Yeah, I didn't realize that human flesh was on the menu.
That baby barbecue, that's a new one.
I mean, I think I can't remember. I'd have to look.
I think it might have been Baby Q. maybe?
Baby Q, maybe.
something like
but
that.
like, but what I hadn't, I'm not get on Facebook all that much, and I think I was invited on Facebook, but my buddy was like, "Hey, are you going to this baby barbecue?" Like, what are you talking about?
You're like, no, I don't deal in this.
I have 2 kids. I'm not gonna go eat somebody else's. That's a little weird.
Oh my god! So now you smoke a pipe, okay, which I find fascinating, just for the simple fact I used to smoke, but you smoke a pipe and you never even used to smoke. What made you decide to start smoking a pipe?
Well, let's see. It was crap. Wow.
Having 2 kids? I'm sure they're angels. I was just
They're pretty good, except for stuff like tonight when trying to cook and the house is suddenly a fecal disaster area. But no, it was probably about 7 or 8 years ago.
How old are your kids?
My kids are
7 or 8.
No. No,
Sorry.
my oldest.
Last one.
My oldest will be 4. 4, yeah, 4 in January, and the youngest will be 2 in February.
All right,
so
cool.
yeah, they're seem a hell of a lot older than than they were the last time I looked at them. But it was probably about 7 or 8 years ago. My cousins were all in town for a funeral. My uncle had passed away, and so everybody was in town, and it was actually the weekend of my one cousin's birthday. So I think it was his 21st birthday. So we all were getting together. They were all staying at our house and stuff. So we were like, okay, we're going to go get enough stuff to have a good time tonight. So we went out.
His life.
Exactly. We went out. We bought all kinds of beer. I don't even remember. I think we were drinking Blue Moon and something else. I don't remember what else. But he was like, hey, I'm going to buy some cigars. I was like, oh, okay. And that was I had never no one had ever even pressured me to smoke. I remember, growing up, everybody, oh, you got to remember, tell them no, you're not going to smoke.
Yes.
Just say no. Like it's drugs, and even that, it's
I feel
nobody ever offered me drugs.
No.
I'm 20, I'll be 29 years old in a few months, and no one's ever offered me drugs in my life. I was made to believe that people were going to be giving me drugs everywhere I went.
They just walk up to you like at school. Like, hey, you want this free weed? You want this free marijuana? How about some cocaine? It's all free.
The worst part is the kids that would be like, if you said no, they'd be like, all right, cool, it's fine. Not a big deal.
Right?
Yeah, nobody, I've never been pressured. They were always, the people told me that.
Yeah, the people that I know that sell or, partake themselves, they never even, I don't think anybody ever even offered anything to me. And, which I don't, that's fine.
And
I
if
have
they
no
do,
problem
it's
with
just
that.
out of a courtesy thing.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you want some?
Yeah.
Cool. No.
There's no twisting your arm. Come on, kid, try some drugs.
Are you a loser?
Look at this nerd. He won't even do any drugs with us.
This kid's a square.
Yeah.
He's going to the dance by himself.
So I always tell everybody my I think it was his 21st birthday. No, it might have actually been his 18th birthday. Now that I'm thinking about it. It might have been his 18th birthday. That was the first time I think my 18-year-old cousin was the first person to ever try to get me to smoke. And it was a cigar. So it wasn't even so that was the first time I ever experienced tobacco. And from then on, I would, anytime we were, a bunch of us were hanging out, we were doing anything, I'd buy cigars for everybody. I think, our wedding, my wife and my wedding, I bought so many freaking cigars for all the guys.
It was like the whole everybody that came to the reception
Yeah.
just had a cigar.
No. There was 500 people at our reception, so no.
Jesus Christ.
But
Okay, I'm getting married next year, and you just made my wedding look like a baby.
That's all right. There's not too many
500
like that.
people.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
500 people. It was at my parents' place. It was.
Do
nuts.
they have a mansion?
I mean, they got a big house. They got a big house.
Jesus Christ!
I grew up on 40 acres.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
And we have. When I was a kid, we lived in a 3-bedroom ranch.
Okay.
And my dad tore down an old barn and added it onto the back of the house. I think there's something like 8 bedrooms now.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Did he do it all himself?
Yeah. I mean, bits and pieces here and there. He had people come over, help out. He doesn't like doing drywall that much, so every now and then he has somebody do some, a couple rooms and stuff or whatever. The last few I think he's done himself, but he's got a little more time now. But yeah, it's a big place, and then like every year it seems like he builds another building on the property. So like right now the project is a blacksmith shop. He's putting up a blacksmith shop. He wants to get that done in the next couple months. He wants it done by the end of the year at least. But I mean, it's just like for our wedding, we built I was telling you about that bar.
Yeah.
We built a bar off the back of one of our barns. It was actually our old chicken coop.
Oh man!
And that's they got a plaque hanging in it. They call it the coop.
Oh, that's great. I was gonna
It's
say,
pretty
do they call
cool.
it the coop?
It's pretty
That's
cool.
awesome.
It's like it's all done like old like frontier style.
That's
like,
awesome.
It's pretty cool. Copper stuff all over the place. It's awesome. I freaking love
Does
it.
your dad like grow his own food? And,
They
like-
do a lot of stuff. Like he
Jesus
tries to be
Christ, man.
self-sufficient. We haven't really done food all that much. My brother-in-law is living there right now, and he's been growing a lot. Like I told you, those jalapenos were
those were good.
Yeah, that's really
he
good.
grew all those.
You're our guests are lacking. You're the first guest we've had that's
Yeah.
brought us food and beer.
I was gonna say, man, he makes the rest of us look like shitty friends because he comes over here the first time. He brings food and beer. We come over, we're just like, hey.
Hey, you didn't tell us there was no beer.
I gotta go get beer. What is this?
But no, man, that's crazy though. Like,
But yeah, he does like all kinds of stuff. So, anyways, we put the bar up for our wedding, and it's pretty cool. It was nice. He bought a few tents and stuff. Then the next year we did like a vow renewal for my parents. We surprised them and did this big wedding ceremony and stuff for them. It was pretty cool. Well, for that, because we told him we were doing this, so he had a little bit of time to prepare. Then at that point, he tore down and built another barn, and put that up as a pavilion. So he moved that like five miles.
He tore down a barn and then built another one like right next to it.
Yeah, like it's off of the bar. So the bar is all mostly open air, and he built that like off of that, and he actually used the siding from his grandfather's corn crib. It's all cypress, so it's like weather resistant and stuff. But he used that for the flooring so that we could have a dance floor.
what?
Awesome.
Wait, what does your dad do? Is he a carpenter or
No,
what?
my dad is like he is like.
If he wasn't a carpenter before,
Is he a
he's
Swiss
carpenter
Army
now.
knife?
He pretty much. He is like, he seriously, like the saying, like the jack of all trades, master of none. That doesn't really work for him because he is so freaking good at everything he does. He had to learn to do pretty much everything he does himself. He is currently in sales. So
Wait, and he has a job? Jeez, do I feel bad about myself.
So like he's worked in wastewater treatment for 30 some years, I think. And currently sells wastewater treatment plants. So
Wow.
he's good at just about everything he does. It's ridiculous. It makes me feel very inadequate sometimes, especially because I work at the same company as him now too.
You
So-
just made me feel like a peon. Like you're like,
Yeah.
my dad works, and when he gets off of work, he comes home
it's
home
disgusting.
and works some more, builds barns.
He makes me feel like crap when I go over there and I get off of work, the same time as him. Most of the time, I go over there. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just getting ready to go. We're gonna go move a building from over here over to there. We got this or that. I'm building a forge right now. I'm on my way to go to Walmart and pick up a rotisserie chicken so I can go home and cut it up for a salad for me and my wife. I feel and my lawn's not mowed, and my dad is here building a freaking plantation practically.
Your dad's like, hold on a second. He grabs the chicken. He's like, I gotta get this for dinner. He just cuts that off. He's like,
I have watched the man butcher many a chicken, so that's not.
But it's just funny because you're like, oh, I was just gonna go to Walmart and do the same thing,
Speaking of butchering animals, so I don't know if I told the story on the podcast before, but I have my cousin. He's deaf, and his brother is he's hard of hearing.
Okay.
I like how I did the sign for some reason. I always do it. But anyways, so
excuse me.
Oh, you're good. No, that's not an issue. So, because of that, they when they used to live in Peru, they had some rabbits, and this kid fell in love with the deaf one. Fell in love with the rabbits. Dude. He every day he would come home from school, feed them, take care of them, everything until they got really big. And then one day he comes home from school. His mom said, "Hey, come have dinner." They had rabbit, and he eats it. And then he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go feed the rabbits." He goes, and the rabbits are gone. And he's like, "Hey, my rabbits are gone. What's going on?" And his mom was like, "Oh yeah, that was dinner, dude." And this think of like now that he's older and he's kind of a douche.
He just feels like a cannibal.
Well, now we know why he's a douche.
Yeah,
my friends.
Yeah, dude, like legitimately.
Dude, that would
when I was told this story, I was like, "What? What is the matter with her?" This is the aunt though that when I see her, she's like, "Oh my God, how have you been? It's so wonderful to see you. I wouldn't know because you never call me." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. I'm all right. Yeah, you're right. I do never call you."
I feel like you told us the like dumbed down version. I feel like what happened. He was like, "Where's the rabbit?" She's like, "You fed them and you made them so nice and healthy that we just had to have them. They were all succulent." And,
you did such a good job.
It's like one of those horror movies where like, where's Timmy? We ate him.
So I can go two ways from that: a rabbit story or a raising your own food story.
Either one. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Well, we'll go with rabbits first. We had a rabbit for a little while, and we all, I have 5 sisters.
Oh wow.
So they all loved the rabbit and everything. And
Your dad Amish?
It was old. No. He gets Amish, Catholic, and Mormon quite a bit.
5
Oddly
kids,
enough-
builds barns.
Oddly enough, none of those.
It just fits.
So we got this rabbit, and it's getting old, and so to mitigate the obvious fallout that's going to come from this rabbit being old, we're gonna trade it in for some other rabbits, some young
Spry rabbits.
yeah, exactly. So we get these 2 little rabbits. We're all excited. We played with them all day. We're all having a good time. My mom was like, "Okay, hey, put the rabbits away. We've got to have dinner. You can play with the rabbits after dinner."
Did you put him with the big rabbit?
No, that rabbit's gone already.
Oh, okay.
We traded it in.
Oh, that reminds me of just afterwards. Just say the barn, and then I'll say something.
We traded the rabbit in. So we put the rabbits away, go eat dinner. We come back, and these rabbits are, man, it's almost like they were trying to get out of the cage. Their claws were on the wire. Their mouths were wrapped. Their teeth were wrapped around the wire. They died trying to escape this cage. They were both dead, stone dead when we came back.
What the hell?
7 mortified children come out to play with their.
I could just imagine
we
the
all
faces.
cried for hours. It was absolutely horrific. It was the most bizarre thing.
There's like a sign from God or something. Like,
No more rabbits. We never bought another rabbit. We
bet,
never
man.
bought another rabbit. That was the end of that.
So you mentioned trading in trading in the man.
Traded in.
And
Yes.
it reminded me. So I used to have an old dog. His name was Quincy, and it was his time, man. He was old. He couldn't go up the stairs. He was hurting, and it was his time. So we told my brothers, "Hey, Quincy's going to the barn," and my brothers were okay with it. Well, my lovely fiance,
No, she's coming into this.
yeah, she's like, "Oh, what's going on with your dog?" I was like, "They're taking it to the barn," and I looked at her like this, the barn, and she's like, "Oh, really? Where at?" I'm like,
No,
"No, the barn." Yeah, which barn? I'm like, Jesus, I'll talk to you about this later. And so I see her later, and she's like, what's the, oh, do you want to?
No, that's fine. I just,
She's
no,
like,
I'll just
she's like, what's the big deal? So I was like,
no.
the barn. You never heard the barn analogy? This is away from my brothers now.
He's
She's like,
going to live on a farm.
No, the farm? She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, they're putting the dog down. She's like, oh. My fiance's very book smart. I'll give her that. She's so book smart. Sometimes she might come down to defend herself in a minute if she hears this. But yeah, no, she's book smart. She's real book smart. I can tell you that.
That would have happened to me.
that was a
That would
compliment.
happen to me too. So it doesn't
I
my
hear her
gosh.
standing up.
Uh-oh. Okay, so we can go from there over back to raising your own food. Now, we grew up on 40 acres. We were on, not a real farm. Like, there was no money being made.
Well, but Medina used to be like a lot of farmland
we're,
before it got built up.
We're still, it's fairly rural around us. My parents. I live in town now, which is to say in Medina, downtown Medina. Real, big city.
Yeah, what do they got? A general store?
Yeah.
We have a Walmart, thank you, and a Target,
They're coming up in the
They're
world,
just
right?
really far away. So my fiance's family lives in Seville.
Oh, okay, yeah. My cousins lived in Seville for a long
You ever
time.
go to the Seville sale?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
thing is
The
awesome.
like big garage sale thing.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
But yeah, her family lives in Seville, and the first time I went there, we actually ended up spending the night over there. And her and her cousins were like, "Hey, let's go to a movie." I was like, "Yeah, dude, let's do it." They're like, "Because we gotta find the movie first, because if we leave now, we can probably make it in like 30, 40 minutes." I was like,
Yeah.
30, 40 minutes for a movie? What?" She's like, "Yeah, we gotta actually go there."
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's not like right around the corner.
"You don't have a movie theater like right there?"
They have a library. They used to have. In fact, my
They have a
cousin.
library.
They do have an library.
My cousin who just texted me, I remember on his 18th birthday, we went and bought Terminator 3 at the video store in downtown Seville. They had a little video store there. We bought
Terminator 3.
Terminator 3 on DVD. Can you grab me another one?
Yeah, man.
You were like, man, this is about to be awesome.
That movie was a huge disappointment. I already knew it was a disappointment, but he did not, I guess. But
Dude, that movie was horrible.
it was really
so
bad.
bad.
I think I had already seen it. Thank you. I'd already seen it with my other cousin at that
You
point.
didn't warn him?
No, I didn't.
You're like, "Yeah, waste your money, bro."
He's my older cousin. I don't know. Like,
You didn't want to hurt his feelings. He
yeah,
was really excited about the
exactly.
movie.
Oh, so
Yeah,
you're
dude,
talking
yeah.
about back like when Blockbuster was in.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. It was a tiny little. It was on the corner, I think. It was this. There's a little. I don't know. You know a little bit about Seville. Have you ever? It's just there's like 3 or 4 shops, and the last one I think was a video store at that point. And I
probably
think
an
it's
antique
closed.
store
It is
now.
an antique store now.
I would
Pretty
be surprised.
sure. Yeah,
like every store in Seville.
Yeah,
pretty much. It's all antiques, which I don't mind.
Yeah, I don't mind it
I
either.
like antique stores.
You know,
Actually,
the best thing that we did on Seville sale, the entire time I was like, "Joe, look for a camera, a microphone, or Dungeons and Dragons books."
yeah, I'm always looking for stuff like that.
Yeah, dude.
Definitely.
See,
You know,
one-
speaking of which, after this podcast, I'll tell you, dude. So I was looking for a specific module on the internet,
Yes.
and I typed it in, and then somebody on Reddit posted, "Oh, hey, here's every single thing you're ever gonna need for Dungeons and Dragons," and I clicked it, and it's everything. Yeah,
Like all the official stuff.
Yes.
Or
I
know which website you're talking
Okay.
about. I think I have that. I am very hesitant to say.
I like supporting.
I do too.
And I have a lot of the books, but if I could find something that's not usually foundable, I'm going to use it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that they are making things more and more available
Yes.
with like the DMsGuild.com.
Oh my God, it's so
you can
cool.
buy a lot of the old adventure modules and stuff, and that's really awesome. But I don't, I grew up, pirating video games, and
You mean you're a child of the internet?
exactly, exactly. I grew up. I goaded my parents into I pestered them so much into getting broadband when that was available for the first time. That's something I am very much try before you buy. That is like one of my mottos. I don't want to spend money on something and then find out, oh, this sucks. Like this is terrible. So
I believe you.
I found this website and I have used it very much, very much. So that's exactly the one. That is exactly that thing is I don't know.
Yeah.
I stumbled upon it. I think searching for an adventure called Against the Cult of the Reptile.
Oh my God!
Oh, Jesus! No.
The specific
That's
module
hilarious.
that
That's
I
hilarious.
stumbled upon.
It's an amazing module. I think it was 1983.
A module is a pre-made campaign.
It's an adventure essentially.
So I don't feel like you guys have either one of you had to feel bad because I feel like whose fault this is Matt Cole's.
Well, yeah,
Matthew
it's
because you
Matt's,
both
yeah.
technically found that because of him.
Yes,
Most likely.
definitely. That's why, honestly, Matthew Koval is the reason that I decided to run that adventure because he talked it up.
Yeah.
a lot, like last year, and then now this year he's done a lot with it as well. He did like a video on preparing against the cult of the reptile god, and so I had tried to find that. It wasn't available anywhere for purchase really, digitally. So I searched for it and found that website, and it is a treasure trove. Not only does it have, not only does it have Dungeons and Dragons material, but there's other games on there too. Like,
oh my God.
I was reading through because I went down to Tennessee a couple weeks ago, and my cousin's girlfriend is like into Lovecraft.
Okay.
So I was like, man, I've heard a lot about this this Call of Cthulhu game. Like, that might be kind of cool. Maybe I'll try an adventure in that. So I downloaded all the books to read them and stuff. And like, I'm looking at it and it's, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm reading this adventure and it's like 300 pages long.
Yeah.
Which
And
one?
it's like a Call of Cthulhu one.
Oh.
So I'm like 300 pages long. Okay, well, I'll read the beginning of it, the intro, figure out what's going on. And it's like talking about, it's best to have a party who is in, upper to middle class, they have to have an income of at least, $30,000 a year, and like all this stuff, and at least an education level of this or that. What? It's so complicated.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm not like preparing this to run for, my cousin and his girlfriend.
You know what's really funny is you just said like upper to middle class, and then you said like 30,000.
Yeah.
Like now,
exactly.
It's like you make $30,000 a year. You're like,
yeah,
I'm scraping by.
barely. Believe me, barely.
I tell you right now, I made this analogy to Tom. I'm like, well, dude, at my old job, I was like, if we were to talk about how much money I'm making and how many bills, if I was swimming, I'd be like right here. And to the audience, it's me pointing towards my face and then raising it up. I'm barely scraping by.
Yes.
But yeah, that was my analogy. But
yeah,
actually,
that's a pretty, yeah.
we're actually at the moment on the podcast that I do want to get a little dorky because, like I mentioned, we're going to talk D&D, guys. And if you want to fast forward for the next 30 minutes, You can, but don't because it's gonna be great.
Especially because I played it, so it's
Yeah.
not going to be too bad.
Yeah.
So, which actually brings me to something I want to talk to you about. Tom, how did you like it? Because, so my first thought was Joe and I were just going to play today. It was just going to be Joe and I. I told my other two friends that were supposed to do it, and they were like, I can't make it, sorry. And I was like, yeah, it's all good, dude. It's all good. And then I texted Tom. I was like, Tom, I know it's weird, but do you want to try Dungeons and Dragons? And he's like, you know what? Yeah, I'll give it a try. And I was really surprised. So I did what I did today right before my class. I actually printed him out some pre-made characters. I printed out a fighter, a cleric, an orc paladin, and a couple other things. And he picked the human fighter, which I knew he was gonna. and then Joe and I. So what I did is, what I mentioned to you actually was the fact that I've been listening to a lot of Matthew Colville, and this guy, dude, I cannot praise this guy enough.
No.
He is fantastic, dude. I've learned so much about DMing in this last week and a half that I've listened to him. It is crazy. So what I did is I just, like you mentioned, I started looking up a bunch of like small modules, like 20-page modules. I started looking them up, reading them real thoroughly, and I just put a bunch of seeds in my campaign. And then I went, okay, what do you like? When I started them off, Tom was very hesitant at the beginning, right? Because when it comes to this and role playing, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can do anything you want. If you want to kill somebody, go ahead and try. I mean, they're gonna fight you back.
Yeah.
You can do it. If you want to threaten somebody, if you want to slap Joe in the face, just remember that you can't slap him in the face, but he's gonna have reactions. And there's always a cost to. So right around the end of this module, actually we're not even at the end, we're in the halfway point of this module, you guys decided to go gun-ho, which you can. You guys decided to just...
Balls to the wall, bro.
Kick, well, how they do it in Munchen, you decided to kick the
in
door.
the door, yeah.
Yeah, you decided to kick in the door.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. And in my mind, I'm like, I had an NPC with them, and the NPC warned them. She's like, I know the patrols, I know that 6 come every hour, and there's a bunch of these guys, and we've only killed 3.
Yeah, it was the amount of warning that she gave us could not have been any more than what she did. Because she was like, "I've seen all of the scouts. I know how many there are. Hey, there's the sentries.
There's some up there."
And then like one hack into the door. She's like, "Hey, you make a lot of noise, guys." And we're just like, "No, it's whatever."
Yeah. And Tom's like, "Dude, I don't care. I'm just gonna hit the thing." He hits the door. And, the thing is, I was really sad about the poison ivy. And I was hoping, because there isn't a point in the campaign where you can burn the poison ivy off, but then it's spread through the whole building. So if you burn it, it starts spreading throughout and destroys the whole chapel. So I thought that would have been really cool if you did that, which you didn't, which is not a big deal. You just got trance and then you broke off of it and then broke down the door and stuff. And it was really fun. It was like, I didn't expect you guys to just barge in through the door. And then I was like, well,
I mean, how long have you known me? You really didn't expect me to just chop the door down?
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't. You know what I did? Like I said, I was talking to Joe about it, and I was like, Joe, I do think that he's going to go up to somebody and just stab them. So role play with me, and we'll see how it goes. So we started, I started role playing with him as Tom, and, like, it was him and Tom, like, him and then him playing as Tom, talking about how, like, a guard would react to it, and, like, the situation, how the guard thinks, and all this other stuff, dude. It was just, it's been fun. Like,
That's
this
cool.
whole week has been great when it
That's
comes to
awesome.
D&D for me.
That's
well,
awesome.
See, my thing about it is like I was telling you guys earlier, when I think of D&D, I think of, like, I don't know, because I never played it before. I always thought that it was just like
nerds, you know.
Well, not even that. I always just thought that it was like,
He took the name
oh,
literally.
yeah,
He
like,
said
okay.
dungeons.
it's just like you're in dungeons and there's
Well,
dragons.
The
like,
thing is, that is original, like, OD&D. Like, that's how, like, when freaking Gygax ran,
Gygax, that's right.
he, like, I mean, it was. You played in Greyhawk. When you played with Gary Gygax, you played in Greyhawk. You played in his dungeon. That was how, like, every DM had their own dungeon. That was the understanding, was that we were going to have dungeons, and everybody would get together and come play in your dungeon. So this week we're playing in Steve's dungeon. Okay?
And the thing is, we would go in there to go get loot, and that was it.
That was the whole point.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I always thought that it was just like something. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to be into that. But
No.
then, like, you know, when you asked me to do
Yeah,
it,
there's a freaking crack in that bottle.
No shit.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna
When-
keep drinking out of it.
Oh,
No, I'm fine.
okay.
when you asked me to do it, I was kind of like, all right, whatever. I'll do it for the podcast since you said Steve's coming, so this way I'm not just like sitting there like a fucking retard. Like,
You did it to
yeah,
impress
no-
Steve. Let's not.
yeah, no. So, you know, and I didn't realize that it was more of like I'm a huge Fable fan.
Yeah.
For like Xbox and whatnot.
See, that's like, yeah, that's awesome.
I play the shit out of it. I found out that Fable 2 was backwards compatible with my Xbox One, and you could ask Joe every time that me and him will start a chat on Xbox, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Playing Fable." And he's like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "You want to play this?" I'm like, "No."
And see, that's like that's the
not an
cool
ass.
thing is that like, okay, Fable. I loved Fable.
But it kind of reminded me of Fable,
Exactly.
like
see, but it's so much more than that though too. I'm gonna burp here in a second.
Go ahead.
I don't know if I'm going to.
Burps are actually a
There you go.
plus. It tells us you're enjoying the
Yes,
podcast.
sir. Yes, sir.
I only liked Fable 2 though. I never played
Okay,
3.
I like the first one a
I
lot.
didn't like 3.
I played 2 and 3. I don't think I ever beat either of them. I played 1 like probably 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
And the same kind of thing when I realized it was backwards compatible with the 360. I went through that again like a few times after.
Yeah.
But anyways, so like Fable, you know, like that's a lot of fun. You know, you can do a lot of cool crap in that.
I get lost in that game because
Oh, yeah,
I just
hell
do
yeah.
stupid shit.
See, like for me, like my real big one was Morrowind. I played I love Elder Scrolls. So I played Morrowind a lot.
Me too.
And then I played Oblivion a lot. I actually in 07 I built a PC just so that I could play Oblivion.
A quick tidbit on that. I got so into Oblivion that there was a moment where I got stuck, and I was like, I don't know. I've just been walled by this quest.
Yeah.
So I started looking up some things like how to power level and things like that, and then I stumbled upon a video, and this guy's like, you know, you can duplicate all your items in here. I was like, what? I
remember that.
Yeah. He's like, you can duplicate all your items in this game. All you have to do is do this, this, and this. And these items become duped to the amount that you had from your other slot or whatever. So if you had 99 apples, you would duplicate this rare item 99 times.
Yeah.
So I did that, and he's like, and this is the trick you got to do. There's this orb that turns one of your items invisible. So all you got to do is dupe that 5, 6, 7 times, and then add that orb to all your clothing, and you become invisible. And I'm like, what? So I did that, and I became invisible, and this is what would happen. And this is how I imagined it in my mind. I would go up, and I would take, like, my helmet off, and then they would be like, oh, there's a head, and they start talking to me. And then all of a sudden, if I pissed them off or something like that, because I would always try to make them mad at me. So they would be like, oh, all right. And then I would, in my mind, my character would put back his helmet, and they'd be like, where'd you go? Like, because they'd be like, I'm going to fight you. They would draw their sword, and then they would look, and they'd be like, where'd you go? And then I would crouch, go behind them, draw my bow, and then shoot them, and it would kill them instantly.
Well, see,
And that's how I played the entire game.
you know, the funny thing is I kind of wish that like you. I know that you study a lot and stuff, but I kind of wish that you were on Xbox more because there's been times where when I've been playing Fable, I have Joe like dying on the other end of the mic
amazing.
because
Yeah.
like I get so mad when like I can't figure something out that I just start screaming into the mic, and then like I was telling Joe, I'm like, I'm gonna go fuck this bitch. So I go and I have sex with this lady, and then it's like, we had a baby. I'm like, God damn it. So like I have like 6 kids in the game.
Which it's funny because Tom did try to bang one of the NPCs in my game, and it's something that happens. It's something
happens.
that happens,
It
but
happens.
he didn't roll high enough at all. He said, "I'm gonna pull out my penis, and I'm gonna bang you." And she was like, and I was like, "Well, roll." And he rolled high enough. She's like, "I'm interested. Go on." And then he rolled really bad. She's like, I don't know now.
I'm good.
It was fun. Like it was a lot better than I thought that it was gonna be. I thought that it was just gonna be like, and then a dragon pops out, and I'm like, this is dumb.
No, not
See,
at all.
okay, so that's the thing. Like, so again, I played a lot of the Elder Scrolls games. You know, to me, there's not enough. Like, I mean, and those are freaking expansive.
You know what's
like,
really funny that you say that we're talking about this in D&D? So we have a friend that we're going to start playing D&D with again. And like at one point, we just wouldn't play with him because he was really hard to play with.
He's a rules Nazi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so like one day we're at his house and we've been playing D&D behind his back. And he's like playing Elder Scrolls, like, oh man, I love it. This is like just playing D&D. And since we were playing, he's all like, Carl's really excited. He's like, it's not really D&D.
I literally went, pump the brakes right there, buddy.
Hold on.
And not even close to D&D.
No.
He's like, yes it is.
And he made some crazy scenarios where like, okay, you killed that guy, right? Can you take a shit on him, take his clothes, and then sell it on the black market? And he was like, no.
The moment that there's a mod where you can shit on your hand and throw it at an orc and see what he does, then it's like D&D.
Yeah. But even then, you have to download the mod, make sure that you put it in the right spot in your mod order, your load order.
Yeah, that's right.
In freaking D&D, you can do whatever you want.
Right away.
Right now in my game, my guys are building a guild. That wasn't even part of anything.
Dude, it's so funny that you say that.
They're building a guild right now. They recruited a cultist. Actually, it was just a mercenary working for this cult that they were fighting. And like the guy was like, whoa, I don't want any part of any of this. And he joined them, and they sent him to go pick up his brother, who's a blacksmith, in the next town over, and go back to their guild.
Wait, are you guys? Are you kind of following what Matthew Koble does, and you're trying to them build a?
We're doing it's a very sandbox type thing. Yeah. So we started out with Against the Call of the Reptile God. Actually, we started out.
That's the next one I'm gonna read.
We started out. I actually threw them all. I had them all create their characters. They bought all their loot or their equipment and stuff, and I was like, okay, get all that stuff done. We got together for the first game, and I said, okay, you see all that stuff you have on your equipment sheet? Erase it all. I was like, you guys are all in jail. You wake up in prison in a dungeon. And they had been captured by goblins. And I made them break out of this dungeon. And they ended up just destroying these goblins that had taken them captive.
That's so funny.
It was awesome. So then from there, they had two options. And I had already made up my mind. I was willing to go either way. To the south was the village of Orlane, and that's where the cult of the reptile god takes place. And to the northwest was the village of Hamlet is what it's called. From there's another module. It's called the village of Hamlet. But it's got a dungeon. It's a moat house. It leads into the Temple of Elemental Evil, I think. So I had already made up my mind. We're going to do either one of these, whatever they want to do, and they decided to go south. So we went south, and from there now they addressed everything with the cult of the reptile god, essentially. And then
they fought the reptile god?
Yes.
Okay.
And they made use of the Wand of Wonder that was provided to them by the wizard. I think his name is like Raim or something like that. I don't know. But it's spelled, it looks an awful lot like Romney. so we just called him Mitt Romney.
Like Deborah?
Yeah, it's really funny that you say that because there's a character in this module that I was just doing with them, and his name is Deyb. And I was like, his name is Deb, and they're like, Deb.
Literally, okay, so he had this guy like crying on the bar because his son was missing, and I was sitting there, I'm like, well, now I wonder why he's crying because his name's Deborah.
That's great. See, and that's one of the things. How I got my wife into playing is. Watching, I don't know if you guys know Penny Arcade at all. It's
I've heard of them.
They do like a web comic. That's how they got started. I think.
God, I made this really strong. I'm sorry.
They do a web comic.
This is crack and rum, by the way, guys.
Oh gosh.
Try that.
And then they have the PAX conventions. That's Penny Arcade.
Pass it around.
But at the convention, actually, they do live on stage. They do a game of D&D. Oh, dear Lord. I told you I don't drink liquor. Wow. Wow.
That's a nice hit,
Strong.
right?
That's strong.
You know what's great? You sniffed it first. You're like,
I know. I was like, I don't know.
Wait, you don't have mono, do you?
That's pretty good. Hey, have you ever had mono before?
Oh, you gotta tell that story.
Dude, I
God.
feel like I'm just gonna start asking people that from now
You
on.
should. Have
like,
you ever had mono?
After?
So anyways, they play on stage live in front of like a couple thousand people, and
That's
actually
awesome.
now they actually stream it to movie theaters, like as like a Fathom event.
See, now here,
I know, it's ridiculous.
Here's one thing that I will say. With that game, if I came over here and they were playing,
Yeah.
and I wasn't playing, I
not
could
fun
not
to
watch it.
Yeah.
I don't know how people
this
can
is,
do that.
This is different though, because these guys are like legitimately funny. Like they're professionally funny. They write a comedy webcomic, every day. Excuse me. But anyways, and that's like, and it's their game is a little on the like goofy side. Actually,
Asthma or anything, right?
no. I mean, like, yeah.
Did you
but
just
no.
say that? He smokes a fucking pipe.
I mean, like, yeah, I was diagnosed with asthma, but I'm fine.
You have asthma? I know that you smoke, but, you know.
you should always ask. You should always ask.
I mean, I'm spraying
That's
some
funny.
stuff, so I don't
No,
want
you're good.
I don't want him to have a fucking
No,
asthma
no,
attack.
you're
from
good.
spraying shit.
I mean, why didn't you just buy some of those fucking pine cones that were sitting outside
Oh,
the
dear
giant
Lord,
eagle?
those were so bad.
No.
So,
For our
so
podcast,
anyways.
well, for our
sorry.
podcast listeners, we went to Giant Eagle, and I just like giving them context because
Yes.
we don't I don't like saying things and then they're like, what the fuck are they talking about? We went to Giant Eagle, and as we
wow,
walked in
that's
through the
strong.
doors, they had a like huge thing of fucking pine cones, and we walked right next to them. We stood there for like a second. We're like, oh, what is that? And then they're like, oh, pine
scented
cones.
Dude, they were bad.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad.
So anyways,
Fine, sorry.
they do their game is like a play on corporate culture. So their adventuring party is a company. It's called Acquisitions Incorporated, and it's freaking
that's awesome.
hilarious. I mean, it's really ridiculous. So it's a 3-person company, and then they have interns, and like their interns come in. Like one of them is Patrick Rothfuss. He's a fantasy author. He's pretty funny. And then like Morgan Webb she was on like X Play on G4.
Okay.
For a while, and she I think she's still online.
Do you
does some
seriously
journalism.
have a picture of you as a baby? As
No,
your
that's actually a
background?
picture of
awesome.
my brother. That's
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So, anyways, they do this game, and so I showed it to my wife. I was like, "You got to watch this with me." I was like, "I'm watching this. Let's just, we watched your, whatever, Desperate Housewives or whatever the hell we were watching." I was like,
I'm
"Let's
sorry
watch this."
for your loss.
Well, yeah, she gives me a hard time. She's like, "You enjoyed that?" I don't know. I mean, I watched it. It's like it's drama for drama's sake.
You're sitting there, you're like, I don't remember the name of the characters, but you're just like, I don't know. I really
What the
don't.
hell is he's sleeping with her? What is it? Yeah, exactly.
You're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Deborah drives me crazy.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. No. So, anyways, we watched it, and she was like, "This is actually really funny." Like, she was like, "Is this like what D&D is like?" I was like, "It can be. It can be whatever the heck you want it to be.
Right.
If you wanna have a freaking serious like Lord of the Rings high fantasy type like whatever, you can do that. If you want to be freaking goof off, have a good time, and just make cracking jokes the whole time, you can do that
See,
too.
That's the thing with me. That's how it's always going to be
Yeah.
if I play.
That's
It's
cool.
And that's okay.
See, I like a blend of that. I like we've got the wizard Romney, who is basically Mitt Romney.
I
as
was
a wizard.
going to say, is his first name Mitt?
We've got, and then we've got my one buddy, who is like, I think he stands probably like 3 or 4 inches taller than me. He's playing a halfling rogue. And like,
a halfling is like a hobbit, so really short.
Not to cut you guys off, but can we just, for 1 second, let's just talk about who the fuck names their kid Mitt?
that is a weird
I just
name.
want to
You know, a lot
touch
of-
on that for a
lot
second.
of politicians have really freaking weird
Like
names.
Jeb Bush.
Jeb, yeah. Well, that's like Jebediah. That's like.
Well,
yeah.
do you think that like the original the original GB. Like George Bush was just like, he was drunk as shit when Jeb was born. And he's just like, your name's Jebediah.
yeah.
Like,
it could be.
But I mean,
He was trying to say George.
like who names their
I already did that one.
yeah, like who the fuck names their kid Mitt? Like that's a.
Yeah.
I remember when he was running.
Yeah.
I'm just like, Mitt? Like who's gonna elect somebody named Mitt? Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
Vote for me. I'm like, fuck you, Mitt. Why don't you go catch a baseball, bitch?
There
Like,
you go. Yeah.
Okay, go on. I'm
no,
sorry.
no, that's all right. No, I that is a weird like trend that I have noticed.
That was such
too.
a weird
that
rant.
there's like that there are a lot of politicians with weird names, weird first names.
You know that now that you've been on a podcast, you're going to be at work. You're going to be like, hey, you guys should listen to this podcast.
I don't know. We'll see.
He's got to see what happens.
Yeah, well, they all know I'm a freaking nerd anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's funny, and let me actually bring up how when we first met you. We went to
Baby barbecue.
We went to the baby barbecue right as we
Every
brought
time
that
I
up.
take a drink, I feel like I'm taking a shot. It's fucking ridiculous.
And the thing about it is, when you first showed up, you came in with your pipe and you started
Was
talking.
I wearing flannel?
Yeah.
Yes.
You were wearing a flannel shirt.
This was already brought up in the last episode.
And the thing about it was, like Tom looks like he starts talking to you because you guys were having a funny conversation, and then he's like, "Hey man, I'm benching you."
Yeah, I told them that I was putting them on the bench and I was trading them for you, and they're like, okay, and then like you walk over and start talking to them, and you started talking about D&D, and he's like, you know how you said that you were benching us?
We're benching you.
I'm like, God damn it!
No, you know what was the best part of that is you said you were gonna bench us, and then he was cooking his hot dogs.
Oh wait, no!
No, you were in on that.
I was, but fuck it.
I said I was gonna bench him and Darian,
You looked at Steve, and he's like focused on his hot dogs. He's like, "Hey, you want to be best friends?"
and he didn't even say anything. But it was.
Hey, hold up. Let me recreate that
Hold on.
situation.
Let me finish
recreate
something.
that because
I'll help you out.
you
I'll
looked
help
at
you out.
him. You looked at him and you went, "Hey, Steve, you want to be best friends?"
I didn't say Steve because
Yeah.
Well.
I couldn't remember your name because we had
It's
just
all right.
met.
No,
It's
yeah,
a
you.
very
That's right. You.
common name.
Yeah,
right?
you went, "Hey, you want to be best friends?" And you were talking to somebody else, and you were like, "Cool." And then I looked at him. I was like, "Oh, that's perfect."
Like nothing, no reaction, nothing. I'm like, oh.
Well, I apologize.
No.
Don't apologize.
It was amazing.
It was funny as fuck.
It's what you call comedy gold in a
Yes.
situation.
See,
Yes.
It was amazing.
here's the thing. When all of us get together, we like to fuck around a lot.
Yeah,
So
we
like me saying that I was gonna put them on the bench was me fucking around because like they always say that I'm a fucking lumberjack because I wear flannel all the time, I wear boots all the time.
That's all right.
And then like you come in, you just have like this big burly beard, you're smoking a pipe, kneeling down by the fire roasting hot dogs. I'm like, he's my new best friend. And then I'm like, you want to be best friends? You just didn't say anything. I'm like, nope. Oh.
I think the cherry on top of that moment is we all like left the area, and then I think you came out of straight Jameson.
Yeah, dude, she's a fucking alcoholic. Chug it. Just do it.
At parties,
That's all right.
She'll walk around with the bottle.
with the bottle, just chugging it.
You got to do what you got to do, right?
Is my rum not enough for you?
Drink it already.
This is my second glass, so. Bitch, nobody taking my Coke.
What
What are you doing?
Where were we?
Oh no! So the funniest part of that whole story was the fact that like we were on a group. Steve was still by the fire. You go over to Steve for some reason, and like you guys start talking D&D. You bring me over there.
How did we even get on? I don't even
Because
know.
no, actually,
Oh,
I remember.
did my buddy ask me?
No, because I don't know
James,
how
maybe?
it got brought up, but you said, "Hey, Carlo, you know Steve plays Dungeons and Dragons." I
Yeah.
was like,
How did we
What?
talk? How did we talk?
I don't remember.
I think my buddy was like, "You're just, yeah. What happened? We were because the guy whose house it was at, He was actually my youth pastor when I was in high school, or not when I was in high school. It was afterwards.
So real quick, not to cut you off, I find it kind of funny because he said that he dealt with youth groups, and like the whole time we're just sitting there cussing, like bullshitting around.
He's currently a youth pastor. Yeah,
but we were like. At the end, I
that
think
was really funny.
I think somebody said that he was a pastor. I'm like,
he said he was a pastor because we're like, oh, blah 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 blah. He's
yeah,
like,
you were talking
I'm a
about
pastor.
your job. I talked about mine, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm a pastor at the church. I'm like, oh.
That's so cool.
I've been sitting here saying, fuck
That was
this,
hilarious.
fuck that. I'm
No,
like,
Mike's a really cool. He's a really cool guy.
Yeah, dude, he's
definitely,
great.
Definitely.
but it was just like one of those things, like growing up as a kid, like you would never say that, and I was just like, I'm like, fuck.
It was.
No, I've known Mike since I was like.
He's a super nice
Oh,
guy.
he's
Yeah, he
awesome.
is. He's so
I've
great.
known him since I was like probably 12.
I feel
something
like
that.
he brings his like old soul kind of situation,
Yeah.
like kind of personality. Because when we walked in his house, he's got a record
Oh,
player.
yeah.
He
He's got all these,
reminds
like-
me of a greaser.
Oh,
Like the way that he was dressed,
That's
and then he had
his,
the
like-
old classic car, and he
Yep.
was listening to music from the '50s. I'm like, dude, all you need is a leather jacket right now and a pack of smokes rolled
Now,
up in
we
your
go to
sleeve.
the same barbershop. I obviously freaking don't go very often. But, like, no, that's his aesthetic. Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome though. Like,
He's an awesome guy. I really like him a lot.
Yeah.
I
like
have a
when
lot
they-
of respect for
when
him.
when they said that it was a dry party, I was like,
Yeah.
and then we got there, but like
It was
everybody
still
there was
pretty
cool.
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
it was-
all
we
of
were
us
all
had
smoking and stuff. You know, I mean, everybody had a good time.
all of us had good conversations, and
Yes, tobacco.
I mean, it was just like one of those things where like when I go into a situation and there's no alcohol, I'm like, fuck, there's not going to be any conversations
Because you're
because
an alcoholic.
shut up, Ashley, the one who just poured straight Jameson, whatever.
Coke in it.
But
There's a little bit of Coke and the rest is James.
But like when you meet a bunch of new people, like if you have a beer, for some reason it's just easier to talk.
Yeah.
But like everybody just kind of like meshed. Like it was weird.
Yeah, no, everybody was great, man.
It was really
like,
nice.
I started talking to one of Nick's friends from high school about IT. Like all of
Yeah.
a sudden, and then we
That's
broke up
cool.
into like a corner and we started talking about IT and like cell phone signals and like all this other shit. And like it was just the two of us because everybody else is like dorks.
Is that the guy with the glasses?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
with
seemed
the
pretty cool.
Yeah,
with
he
the
was
with
cool.
the Irma beard.
Yeah.
But everybody there, I felt like if all of us went camping, like
That'd
it
be
would
great.
be
Yeah,
all
that'd
right.
be great.
Like all of us would have got along. I mean, I would probably be sneaking alcohol, but that's just because I
That's
might
all
have a
right.
problem.
We all
If we all went camping, we would have alcohol. We wouldn't have
we
not
all
brought alcohol.
we all talked about the fact that like we're like, okay, so who's bringing the flask?
Yeah, like I almost did for a minute, but then
Hey,
I
that-
ended up driving out there, and I'm like,
Nah.
yeah, I'm not doing that because. But it was just funny though, man, because like
was
everybody,
cool.
everybody there was really cool. It was really mellow. It was just kind of like a nice Saturday. It wasn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was like, oh man, I don't want to go do anything. I
exactly.
got this company picnic that I'm in charge of setting up for the next day. I was like, I want to enjoy my Saturday. And then I was like, shoot, after you guys left, I was there for another hour and a half.
Oh wow!
Like, yeah.
Well,
so
the funny part was when you initially walked up and you were smoking the pipe. Initially, I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, this dude's a hipster. 100% hipster. No doubt. And then, like, you start talking about being in waste management. I'm like, okay, he's not a hipster.
Yeah.
He's like a real
Actually,
working
like,
guy.
he does stuff.
Well, because it's so funny because there's so many people, like, around here on
Oh,
this
yeah.
end,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
just, like, these guys that grow these
Oh, dude.
massive beards.
Dude, you don't even
and,
know.
like-
In freaking Medina. Oh my gosh. That's like hipster freaking paradise.
You should go to
Like,
Lakewood. Have you ever been to Lakewood?
Oh, yeah, I will say.
And with that, I do want to say thank you because the hour is already gone, just
Holy
like
crap.
that. But I do want to say thank you guys and thank you, Steve, for joining us. You're going to be in another
For
episode,
sure,
so-
man, for sure.
And we'll probably talk way more about this. Thank you for joining the Designated Drinkers podcast. Thank you. My name is Carlo.
I'm Joe.
Tom,
Steve.
we're the designated drinkers. Keep on drinking. beers, 1 cup.